Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Politics 2022. Politics 2022 is a program hosted by Sweet Reality Kenya TV. I am your presenter, Otieno Isayah. And today on Politics 2022, we are with Chrispin Otieno Ogutu. Chrispin Otieno Ogutu is an aspirant MCA Yimbo East Ward under the ticket of ODM. So karibu sana Bwana Chrispin. Tell us, who is Chrispin Otieno Ogutu?
I'm very delighted to be part of Politics 2022 program hosted by Sweet Reality Kenya TV. Thank you, Mr. Isayah Otieno, for this opportunity. I'm Chrispin Otieno Ogutu, a Kenyan by birth, a writer, a politician, and an entrepreneur. I'm a staunch supporter of the Orange Democratic Movement political party, led by the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. I was born on 25th January 1990 to the late Boniface Ogutu Ochinga and Mama Celine Auma Ogutu of Othach village in Yimbo East Ward. I'm married to Jessica Uma of Ng'ia, Alego Usonga constituency, with whom we are blessed with a son, Jaden Prince Ogutu. I have 3 siblings, namely Billian, Collins, and Beryl. I attended several primary schools, including Marura in Nairobi, Kosao Primary School in Kisumu, and finally Agwara Primary School in West Sakwa, Bondo constituency, where I did my KCPE in 2004. I attended Kapio Secondary School and did my KCS in the same school in 2008. I've been acquiring my tertiary education while working for now close to 1.5 decades. I started working in 2009 at Bericom Agencies Limited as a salesperson and a cashier. I was later seconded to work with Equity Bank in Isayah as a marketer and an accounts opening clerk under then MCA mobile money platform in 2010. I also worked with the Ministry of Youths and Sports in Kisa West, Wisero constituency under the Kazi kwa Vijana initiative. Between 2012 and 2015, I was back home working with civil society organizations and youth networks. I was then elected by Othach sublocation as Secretary General of the Community Development Project under then Ministry of Special Programs called Western Kenya Community Driven Development and Flood Mitigation Project. In 2016, I worked with communications and PR firms, Liscom Enterprises and Halisi Communications, while attached to the Ministry of Information in Isayah. In the same year, I joined Top Oil Services, a petroleum company, as an ICT assistant. I later rose to the position of Business Development Manager and then General Manager until early 2018, when I quit to establish and run my own business. Currently, and by the grace of God, I'm the director of Ideal Kenya Furniture, an interior and exterior deco consultancy and manufacturer and supplier of home and office furniture. Finally, it should not be forgotten that in 2013, I supported a youth named Charles Olwamba for the position of MCA in Yimbo East Ward. And in 2017, I personally ran for the seat, although not conclusively.
Oh, this is quite impressive, Honorable Chrispin Otieno Ogutu. Now, what is it that you're bringing into the Yimbo East politics that was not brought in by Honorable Elisha Okuku, that has not been brought in by Honorable Otieno, and that cannot be brought in by Honorable Dick Wandeo. What is it? What is your new input in the Yimbo East politics?
Okay, thanks again, Mr. Isayah. As you know, I'm yet to launch my bid, and as such, I wouldn't want to let the cat out of the bag at the moment. However, I shall respond as follows. On Elisha, I would say Elisha Okuku performed averagely well, given the fact that he was the founding MCA for Yimbo East Ward. So many things were still not known to people when devolution came, and only a few people understood the concept and the roles and position of an MCA in devolution, and for that matter, the county government structure. Secondly, I shall not talk about Dick Wandeo, for even though he's a worthy competitor, I believe everyone has their own way of articulating their agenda, and therefore I cannot speak for him. Thirdly, I shall allow Otieno to finish his term in peace. Whether he has met the expectations of his electorate or not, it will be evident at the ballot on August 8th, 2022. Now, an MCA has the following as his key roles and responsibilities. I'm actually summarizing this so that I get into the nitty-gritties. Number 1 is representation. Number 2 is oversight. And number 3 is legislation, just like an MP. Now, if elected, I shall, among other things, do the following. Number 1, and this is very crucial, this is where we've messed, either by omission or commission. Number 1 is civic education. We should give or impart the right information to the electorate. A majority of our electorate, sadly, 10 years down the line, still don't quite understand how the county government structure works. Ignorance has actually been a very big impediment to development in our area. I shall be very honest with my people on what I can humanly achieve, rather than give big campaign pledges that are not achievable. I shall educate them, for instance, on what projects should fall under the national government and those that should fall under the county government. Number 2 is transparency, accountability, and openness. For our people to realize value for money, they must be abreast with all information pertaining to projects and their costings, and actually how the costings are generated. They must have sound knowledge of the principles of public finance management. In addition, I shall involve them in every stage of all projects that we shall have in the wards. No contractors shall be paid for incomplete or shoddy works, as has been the case in most of our wards. Okay, thirdly, there is something that has been lacking, and I think this actually is going to be a new input, and I want you to get it very, very clearly. There has always lacked the spirit of cooperation, coordination, consultation, and actually that has always hindered continuity and sustainability of projects that have been initiated in the past. Under my tenure, I shall make sure that all projects that are currently ongoing or running as envisaged in the County Integrated Development Plan, the CIDP, they must be completed regardless of who initiated them. I shall foster partnerships, and this is very, very important, with NGOs, international NGOs, well-wishers, private organizations, and friends to make Yimbo Eastward great. Take, for example, the stalled Penwa Water project. It is evident that there's been very little or no cooperation with the devolved leadership all along. A project that could have helped our people access clean water is still sitting on millions of shillings when other parallel projects are sprouting. Secondly, look at the Dominion Farms. The Dominion Farms has now packed and gone. A new private developer has been brought on board. In the past, the local leadership made it very difficult even for the Dominion Farms to excel, despite them investing a lot of money in our community. For example, over 50 households now are struggling because their breadwinners have lost jobs. Our leadership has always been divided about the investment in Yala Swamp, with most local leaders pocketing hundreds of thousands to the detriment of our people. These are things that must cease. These are things that we must stop. Thirdly, there has not always been enough public participation. Therefore, there has been misprioritization of projects, and when this happens, communities decline to own projects and they stall. A simple example is the tree nursery projects meant to act as income generating activities for youths, women, and other social welfare groups. Another shortcoming of the past and current regimes is the absence of resource mapping and mobilization programs. Every village or every sublocation for that matter has its own strengths. I shall identify together with my people what their ideas, aspirations, and possibilities of banking on their strengths or the strengths of the resources each community has for income generation. For example, the areas along the river, that is River Yala, like Mago, Lela, Abida, we have Magombe, others like Rahondo. These are places where horticulture would do best. The other areas that are very far from the river, but there are water pans within these villages. Tree nurseries can be put there. There are areas where mining can actually happen. Areas like, for example, Loele, Nyamonye, Usigu, Bondo Kwach. These are areas where you can actually concentrate on fish farming and make sure that you come up with fish cooperative societies for the betterment of the people. In emerging market centers, for example, Majengo, Nyamonye, Usigu, these are big market centers that should have proper lighting, not the kind of solar lighting that are defunct. These are things that you pass today, you see the solar lantern is up there, the next minute, or when you are going to Bondo on your way back, darkness everywhere. Now, in these emerging market centers, where our youths are doing border business, we should not leave them alone. The youths must be provided with electricity, or the border operators for that matter, whether solar or otherwise, provided there is lighting and sustainable lighting for their security. Through cooperative societies, they can be helped to negotiate for better insurance terms for their motorbikes and also helped to acquire licenses. It is very difficult to do most of these things when you don't group people into cooperative societies. And actually, when you group them, it is much easier even to negotiate for loans so that younger people coming from school or actually jobless people, school dropouts, they can get into anybody can get into the business. I'm not putting any bias anywhere, provided there is a mechanism through which acquiring some of these facilities like the bikes becomes easier. On sports and culture, no one should be left behind. The tournaments should not be personalized and branded in an MCA's name unless he's actually footing the bills. Some of these things are in the executive's budgets. Things like sports and activities that enhance socio-cultural heritage. You remember things that used to happen at Migwena. They still happen. Why can't they happen in our places? Why? If you talk of sports, our people only know football. There are so many things that are not done, that are untapped. And somehow, if we try them, we could even realize that some of our income could come from them. So, the big question is, where has our money been going? I do not want to talk about so many other things because the list is endless. Talk of bursary. Personally, I've witnessed families that are given the constituency bursary is even more open, and there is a lot of accountability in it compared to this county bursary. County bursary is given to people who have the financial capacity to pay school fees to the detriment of those who are actually struggling. In summary, I shall not be intimidated or bought by the executive to pass, for example, budget bills that are unscrupulous, shoddy, illegal, and corrupt. I shall stand firm for the benefit of all residents of Yimbo East Ward. And as you soon shall see, I shall take a very, very, very strong stand on matters public participation. The issues I need to articulate are so many. Those were just a few of the areas I'll adjust so that service delivery in Yimbo East Ward is enhanced. Thank you for now. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chrispin Otieno Ogutu. I'm sure you've been elaborate enough to let the people know whom they are dealing with. Koro adwa mi thuolo makende mondo itwag gi jopiny, ikwagi ombulu kuom kom ma idwaro sani. To sama itwak gi jopiny be imulie to jogoma idwa timonegi ang'o? Waneno ka pi ma Agola project bende osestall, just as you talked of Penwa. Koro kwa ombulu, Honorable.
It's actually good you've brought this issue up. The people of Goma, just like any other villages I've mentioned earlier, are affected by lack of the spirit of cooperation, coordination, and consultative leadership. The water project Kagola, a water project should be benefiting our people, but there is no roadmap to sustainability. Our politicians keep donating monies for fuel or electricity, as was witnessed last week with the Penwa Water Project for political mileage. These people only want you to be dependent on them. That's why they do not want projects that shall empower you. I shall sit with the people of Goma, just like I have been consulting with other villages. I shall not import or impose any solutions to their grievances and problems. We shall chart a way forward together. Most of these projects suffer because of lack of ownership by the very communities within which they are located. That way, we shall foster sustainability. Okay, I want my people to know that I'm a responsible, dependable, flexible, and open-minded person. My people should elect me because my ward needs a visionary who can turn things around by involving the people and invoking Chapter 1 of our Constitution. That person is none other than Chrispin Otieno Ogutu. My people, I humbly request you to vote for me when the right time comes. I know money shall exchange hands, as has been the norm. Do not allow any bribes from corrupt politicians who have no agenda for you. Do not sell your vote for 100 or 50 shillings, then cry fall for the rest of the 5 years. The time for good, youthful, and vibrant leadership is with us. Now that the voter registration is going on, let's come out in large numbers, all of us, to register as voters. Your vote is the only weapon you can use to shape your future and the future of our coming generations. Your future is in your hands. If we do not change how politics is done, or rather how our politics is done, then actually we have no future tomorrow. I urge my people to register, come out in large numbers, register as voters, and exercise their mandate that the Constitution bestows on them. Vote Chrispin Otieno Ogutu, vote servant leadership, vote accountable and sustainable development.